17-44.
The tale of the 2016 Chicago Cubs. Welcome. We start in the 2015 offseason. Cubs signed outfielder Jason Hayward to a whopping 8-year, $184 million deal. We also signed starting pitcher John Lackey to only a 2-year, $32 million deal, as well as Ben Zobrist, the hero of the 2015 World Series from the Royals, to a 4-year, $56 million deal. Cubs started off the season hot. In April, they won 17 out of their 22 games. In the third game of the Cubs season, star left fielder Kyle Schwarber collided with Dexter Fowler.
Have to endure for any parent. And he cranks this one out into deep left center. Schwarber, Fowler, and neither can catch it. I hope they're all right. Schwarber's injured. Segura coming around third. He's going to try to score. Relay throw to the plate. It's a home run. The biggest concern right now for the Cubs is Kyle Schwarber. He is in major pain. Segura looks a little shaken up as well. Joe Madden running out along with Ed Halbert.
Oh. Dexter tries to go low to try to avoid Kyle at the end. He is going all out, eyes on the ball. Ooh.
Schwarber tore his ACL and his LCL and went under surgery, which should have ended his season.
The Cubs continue to dominate throughout the season. Starting off the season 17-5, the Cubs had won every month except July, in which they posted a 12-14 record. The Cubs were cruising behind their MVP Chris Bryant and red-hot 26-year-old Anthony Rizzo, and Kyle Hendricks with a whopping 2.13 ERA.
The Cubs, having the best record in the NL, faced the San Francisco Giants, who beat the Mets in the NL wildcard. The first game of the series was played in Chicago's home, Wrigley Field. The Cubs started their hard-throwing lefty, Jon Lester. The game was scoreless throughout the first 8 hard-playing innings, both pitchers battling against each other.
On a 3-2 count with 1 out, Javier Baez drove a pitch to left field that landed in the basket for a Cubs home run. In the top of the 9th, the Cubs brought in the fireballing left-hander Aroldis Chapman, a.k.a. the Cuban Missile. He closed out the game, and the Cubs won 1-0.
In Game 2 of the NLDS, the Cubs started pitcher Kyle Hendricks. The Giants started Jeff Samardzija. Dexter Fowler smacked the leadoff double in the bottom of the first to get the Cubs rolling. With 2 outs, Ben Zobrist drove him in for a Cubs to be up 1-0.
The Cubs continued to pound it on, scoring 3 more in the next inning. They ended up winning the game 5-2. They then proceeded to win the series 3-1. In the next series, they played the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Cubs won the first game from a clutch pinch hit grand slam by Miguel Montero, followed up by a solo home run by Dexter Fowler. They then proceeded to lose 2 games in a row, 0-1 and 0-6.
But the Cubs weren't going to take that. They crushed the Dodgers the next game, winning 10-2 with some great home runs by Cubs shortstop Addison Russell and Anthony Rizzo. They tied the series. The next game was held in LA, and the Cubs started off cooking with a double to start the game from first baseman Anthony Rizzo, who drove in Dexter Fowler to put the Cubs up versus the Dodgers 1-0.
The Cubs started Jon Lester, who threw 4 perfect innings until the Dodgers scored on a fielder's choice. Cubs shortstop Addison Russell ended up crushing a 2-run home run to put the Cubs in the lead of the game, 3-1. Hitting was contagious, and the Cubs went on to ram the Dodgers 8-4.
The Cubs led the series 3-2. The next game was in Chicago. The Cubs started a 16-game winner, Kyle Hendricks. The Dodgers started left-hander Clayton Kershaw. The Cubs fans were excited for the first time in a while. Chris Bryant, who drove a liner into right, knocked in Cubs center fielder Dexter Fowler in the first inning.
In the second inning, Dexter Fowler hit a ball in the outfield. In the following innings, Rizzo and Contreras hit 2 solo shots in the bottom of the 8th inning. Josh Reddick hit a single up the middle, ending a no-hitter for Kyle Hendricks.
As he exceeded in the field, the Chicago fans were cheering and clapping for him. Aroldis Chapman then came in the game ready to close it down on an 0-2 count to his first batter, Howie Kendrick, grounded into a double play.
Bottom of the ninth, Chapman strikes out first. Chapman then walks the second batter of the inning and steps Yasiel Puig. On the first pitch, he grounds a ball to Addison Russell, who throws it to Baez, who throws it to Anthony Rizzo. Series over. Cubs are going to the World Series for the first time since 1945.
Cubs are set to face the Cleveland Indians in the 2016 World Series. But something surprises Cub fans. Along the roster, they see that Kyle Schwarber has been added back to the lineup. This was an amazing thing for the Cubs fans, as well as the Cubs organization. His only restriction was that he was only a designated hitter, or DH, and a pinch hitter. In Game 1, the Cubs started John Lester, and the Indians started their hard-throwing right-hander, Corey Kluber.
The first game was played in Cleveland. The Cubs started off allowing a weak grounder with bases loaded and 2 outs to score a run. Lester hit the next batter, Geyer, to get another run home. In the top of the fourth, Kyle Schwarber knocked a double off the right center wall. He was back in the bottom of that inning. Roberto Perez smacked a solo shot to left field. The Cubs thought that it was a hit that bounced off the top of the wall, but the umpiring crew signaled that it was a home run.
Ben Zobrist smacked a single to left in the 7th, ending the game for Corey Kluber. Through 6 innings, he had 4 hits and 9 Ks. The Cubs had bases loaded in the 7th, but cannot drive the run in. In the bottom of the 8th, Roberto Perez hit another home run. This was a 3-run home run. The Cubs could not handle this onslaught, losing the game 6-0 in Game 1. The Cubs started off Game 2 rolling when Anthony Rizzo hit a double in the gap in the top of the first, scoring Chris Bryant. In the bottom of the first, with runners on first and second, Dexter Fowler tracks down a deep fly ball.
In the top of the third, Kyle Schwarber hits the RBI double, scoring Anthony Rizzo. In the 5th, Ben Zobrist hit a triple down the first base line, scoring Rizzo again. Kyle Schwarber then knocked in Zobrist, and the Cubs lead 4-0. Later that inning, Addison Russell drew a walk with bases loaded, sending a run home. Arrieta is pulled in the 6th after throwing a wild pitch to let his only hit score. He is replaced with Mike Montgomery, who you may be asking, but remember him.
He pitched 2 innings until he was replaced with our favorite Cuban Missile, Aroldis Chapman. He closed down the game and won 4. In Game 3, Josh Tomlin was on the mound for Cleveland, and Hendricks was for Chicago. In the bottom of the 2nd inning, the Cubs could not capitalize with the runner on second, with Andrew Miller came in the 5th. The Cubs' bats disappeared. In the top of the 7th, with runners on first and third, Carl Edwards Jr. let up a single to right by pinch hitter Coco Crisp. That was the only run allowed that game, and the Indians took the game 3-1.
In Game 4, the Cubs scored off the bat, as Anthony Rizzo drove in Dexter Fowler with a single up the middle, in the bottom of the first. In the top of the next inning, Carlos Santana hit a home run to right field, tying the game late. Later that inning, with runners on first and second, pitcher Corey Kluber hit a weak ground ball to the left side of the infield. Chris Bryant ran in and tried to throw him out, but was slightly late, and the Indians scored 1 and advanced the other to third. In the next inning, Francisco Lindor hit a ball in the center, scoring the runners on second. Corey Kluber was doing amazing again, and had 6 Ks through 6 innings pitched. In the top of the 7th, Jason Kipnis smashed a no-doubter in right field, making the score 7-1.
In the bottom of the 8th, Dexter Fowler hit a homer to left, though it wasn't enough. The Cubs lost the game 8-2. The Indians were just 1 game away from winning the World Series, after a 68-year drought from winning it all. The next game, Jose Ramirez smacked the home run into second to break the game open. But the Cubs got their revenge. In the bottom of the 4th, Chris Bryant hit a solo home run. Later that inning, Addison Russell hit an infield hit which scored the runner from third. Later that inning, David Ross hit a deep fly ball to left which scored Ben Zobrist, who tagged up.
In the top of the 6th, Francisco Lindor hit a liner in the center, scoring a run from the second. The game was 2-3 Cubs. Our closer, Aroldis Chapman, came in the 7th and closed the game down, keeping the Cubs' hopes alive. Game 6 was in Cleveland, and Chris Bryant hit a moonshot home run to left field. Later that inning, the Indians had a miscommunication on a fly ball from Addison Russell, as 2 runs scored on the play, and Addison Russell ended up at third. In the top of the third, Addison Russell delivered again as he hit a grand slam, and the Cubs are up 7-0 in Game 6.
The Indians scored 2 runs by a hit from first baseman Mike Napoli and a solo shot from Jason Kipnis. Aroldis Chapman, Pedro Strop, and Travis Wood all pitched for the Cubs, and they had a forced Game 7. The stress was high, as this was one of the biggest games for both franchises, a chance to win the World Series. Dexter Fowler gave the Cubs the momentum in the first at-bat of the World Series as he hit a homer to dead center. Cubs lead 1-0. Carlos Santana tied up the game in the third as he lined the ball into right. In the fourth, Addison Russell popped up to the center fielder and Chris Bryant tagged up. Even though it was a close play, he was safe.
The Cubs were winning 2-1. Later that inning, Wilson Contreras hit a double off the center field wall, scoring another run. On the first pitch of the fifth, Javi Baez hit a no-doubt home run to center, extending the Cubs' lead to 4. On a hit and run, Rizzo hit a ball in the right down the line, scoring Chris Bryant from third. John Lester came in for Hendricks after allowing a base runner. The thing is, Lester's forte is not with runners on. So on a wild pitch, David Ross went to block a ball, and the ball bounced off his mask.
2 runs scored off the wild pitch, and the Indians were back in the game. Immediately, Ross made up for the mistake, though, hitting a solo shot. The 39-year-old in his final game, David Ross puts the Cubs up 6-3. Aroldis Chapman, also known as the Cuban Missile, came in the 7th, closing the inning down. The thing is, he had pitched so many games without rest, he was not throwing his hardest, of 102 to 103 miles per hour. But he was mostly throwing sliders and throwing 98 to 99. Brandon Guyer smacked the double in the 8th and scored 2. In the next at-bat, Rajai Davis, the potential hero of the Indians' win, hit a homer to tie the game.
In the top of the 9th, a fielding error was made by outfielder Coco Crisp, and Terry Francona pulled him for the only sub and a better defender, Michael Martinez. With Jason Hayward on second, Javi Baez missed a bunt with 2 strikes. On a ball hit up the middle with 2 outs, Francisco Lindor made a great play and ended the top of the 9th. In the bottom of the 9th, with 2 outs, Lindor popped out to Hayward and sent the game to extras. Between innings, it started raining, and the game was put on hold as the teams went to the clubhouses.
Jason Hayward gave an inspirational speech to the players and made the Cubs inspired. The Cubs went out and were very excited to score a run. Ben Zobrist smacked the double down the line, scoring a run and advancing the runner to third. Miguel Montero, who was batting .091 in this postseason, hit a base hit while pinch hitting and scored a run. The Cubs were up 8-6. This was the biggest moment for the Cubs fans everywhere.
In the bottom of the 10th, with 2 outs, Rajai Davis hit a single, scoring the runner from second with 2 outs. He would surely be the hero. The Cubs then replaced Carl Edwards Jr. with Mike Montgomery. That guy, yeah, who I told you to remember, as Michael Martinez stepped up to play. You probably know what is going to happen, and we will just let this video play.
This is going to be a tough play. The Cubs win the World Series. Bryant makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
And just like that, the Cubs are the 2016 World Series champions.
For the first time in 108 years, they had won the World Series. They were the best in the world.
They got the power, they got the speed to be the best in the National League. Well, this is the year and the Cubs are real. So come on down.
Main event. Got one.
The Cubs haven't. She didn't move it. It's going on. Scroll. In game 4, the Cubs scored. Oh my God, these glasses right here. Hold on.